It's morphin' time. Pterodactyl. Hi there, welcome to the It's Wrestling Time Impact Wrestling Post Show. Wow, tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. Holy smokes, like there's so much to talk about. Okay, so where do we even start? Let's start from the beginning. Impact Wrestling kicked off with Morrissey, who busted into the arena looking for Moose and asking where Moose was at. He went to the ring and called him out, and he said that Moose doesn't want to come out because Morrissey had him beat with a 10 count. He says that Moose walks around here with a title that he practically stole and that he's hiding backstage. And he says that he doesn't have the balls to face somebody man to man. He says he's not going to stop until he gets an Impact World title match tonight against Moose. Then Moose comes out on the Titantron and says that Moose is going to pick someone who's never had an opportunity for the title, someone who's truly deserving of an opportunity. And then Morrissey goes backstage and says that and confronts Scott D'Amore and says that he authorized it, and then Morrissey would just have to accept it. And then Morrissey threatens to intervene, but before Scott D'Amore can say something, he gets a call on his headset, and who shows up? Ring of Honor, OGK and PCO. They attack D'Lo. Mike Tavern demands D'Lo give his headset. D'Lo attempts to fight, but Mike Bennett attacks him. Mike and Vinny Marsalia, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, put D'Lo through the table while PCO jumps. He misses, actually he doesn't miss, but the table doesn't break. So he does it again and end up putting D'Lo through a table. Talk about an invasion. If you watched Hard to Kill, you know those guys attacked Heath, Rhino, Willie Mack, Rich Swann, and Eddie Edwards after Hardcore War. So that was crazy. So then for the first match of the night, we get Chris Bay versus Laredo Kid. This match was insane, but Trey Miguel was on commentary, so Chris Bay kept looking at him and at the X Division title, trying to send him a message, but that ultimately cost him this match because Laredo Kid ends up winning this match after he grabs Chris Bay from the top rope and does a Spanish fly. Insane. My favorite match, actually, one of my favorite matches of tonight. All right, so then we get a backstage segment with Heath, Rhino, Willie Mack, Rich Swann, and Eddie Edwards, who basically want to go looking for OGK, PCO, and Vinny. Then they get a most professional segment with Brian Myers called Making a Comeback, and says that he's back and that the learning tree and that that VSK and Ziggy Dice should watch every move because they've embarrassed him and are about to get cut. Ziggy Dice says he's Moose's opponent and he orders pizza. So interesting to say that Ziggy Dice was Moose's opponent. More on that later. Then we get Jake Something versus Speedball Mike Bailey, who's making his Impact debut. He actually made his debut at Hard to Kill, but this is his first match for Impact TV. Well, actually, I guess the way you look at it, it's a second, but you guys know what I mean. So this match was a good match. Ace Austin, Mad Fulton were on commentary for this match. Mostly Ace Austin was talking, not Mad Fulton. But I really liked how Jake Something tried to take Speedball Mike Bailey down. But it always seems like you have a counter for what Jake Something was doing. Ultimately, Speedball Mike Bailey wins with the double knees, or as he calls it, ultimate weapon. It was a good match, if you ask me. So then after this segment, we get the Good Brothers invited by Design backstage talking about their business arrangement. And Eric Young is quick to remind them that Carl Anderson is the reason they lost because he got the pin. And then they see Heath and Rhino who need help because they got beat up by the Ring of Honor guys. They pretend to help them. And then they just beat up Heath and Rhino. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then after that, we get a backstage segment with Chelsea Gray and Matt Cardona talking about their respective matches. Chelsea says that Matt Cardona always undersells himself and says that he should have won, could have won. And she says that she doesn't know how she let the X the X symbol from the Ultimate X match slip out of her hands. Then Tasha still shows up and says she snatched that X from Chelsea Green and tells her that's what happens when you're hungry. And she says that Tasha says that there would be an unbalance waking up to a loser if Chelsea Green won her match and Matt Cardona still lost his. And then Chelsea Green challenges her next week to a match. Then we get Masha Slamovich versus Vert Vixen. This is a squash match. Masha Slamovich grabbing Vert Vixen by the hair and basically tossing that poor girl around. That looked like it hurt. But yep, Masha Slamovich is victorious. I like how they're building her up. But at one point, she's gonna have to stop fighting jobbers. So I'm curious to see her first official feud in Impact is. Then we get a Josh Alexander segment. He says that he's been told he needs to keep his emotions in check, and that if he does so, he will get a title match. He says that first he's faced Suzuki, then Jonah. His nose has been shattered, his ribs have been bruised, he's been through a table, has spat blood into the ring, and has never lost focus. That is true. He beat Mirno Suzuki, which was an amazing match. He beat Jonah at Hard to Kill, which was a good match. And Jonah basically broke his ribs, and he still hasn't lost focus. So he makes an excellent point there. And he says that what Moose did to him at Bound for Glory is forever ingrained in his head, and that he's the uncrowned Impact champion until Moose beats him. I was there at Bound for Glory, and let me tell you, I was shocked. But I did not see that cash-in coming. And then he says that Moose has no problem handing out title matches to anybody who asks. And he claims that Moose is avoiding the only real challenge in front of him. And see. He says that in order for Moose to defend his title tonight, he has to get through him. And guess who comes out, you guys? Guess who comes out? Guess who comes out? You guys still haven't figured out? Charlie Haas. Yes, that's Charlie Haas. Comes out and introduces himself to the Impact audience, and this is his first time inside the Impact ring. He says that Josh Alexander is a great wrestler, one hell of a wrestler. I mean, he's not wrong there. Josh Alexander does not disappoint in his matches. That's why he was voted a male wrestler of the year. And he says that they both work hard at their craft, and that Charlie Haas himself was part of one half of the world's greatest tag teams alongside Shelton Benjamin, who were originally called Team Angle until Kurt Angle fired them, and then they became the world's greatest tag team. And he says that Josh was also a part of a great tag team alongside Ethan Page, who is now in AEW, called the North. And they're the longest reigning Impact tag team champions. And says that Josh is the pinnacle and issues him a challenge. Josh responds by saying he knows exactly who Charlie Haas is, and he says that everyone knows who he is, and that it would be quite the honor to step in the ring with him. But he has had obstacle and excuse after excuse put in his way, and right now he needs that world title. And that when he gets it, then Charlie can have his match. And Charlie says that Josh has it twisted and that he's an obstacle in his way, and then he sucker punches him. And then a brawl breaks up between them. Security has to come out and separate them. And Josh accepts the challenge. So I'm so excited. I cannot wait for that match. I cannot wait. I'm really excited for that match. Then after this, we get the Impact World Title match. Is Ziggy Dice versus Moose. This is basically a squash match. And Moose comes out, doesn't even come out in wrestling attire. He comes out in his street clothes. A squash match to the T. Of course he wins. Then W. Morrissey comes out, attacks Moose, and attacks Ziggy Dice. Moose leaves. W. Morrissey holds up the title. And then he goes after VSK, who just poor VSK was just checking on Ziggy Dice. And then Moose leaves the arena in a car. So I'm so intrigued. It seems to me like Moose's next challenger is going to be W. Morrissey. So another obstacle in Josh Alexander's path to reclaim the Impact World title. Then we get another squash match. 3 squash matches tonight. It's Raj Singh versus Jonah. Seriously, squash match top to beginning. Raj Singh tries to knock Jonah down. by giving him elbows. Of course, it doesn't work. Jonah gives him a clothesline, knocks him down. He basically pancakes Raj Singh, and he does a top rope, does a tsunami, and wins his match. Come on now. Did we really think Raj Singh was going to defeat Jonah? No. Then we get an influence segment basically saying that the inspiration is at home being lazy and that they need to come up with a strategy to beat them on January 27th. DK interrupts them and challenges them to a match next week. And then we find out that Eddie Edwards was also attacked. So I wonder what happened to Rich Swann. It just showed Ethan Rhino attacked and it showed Eddie Edwards. So I wonder what happened to Rich Swann. More on Willie Mack to come. So then after this, we get a Jonathan Gresham segment. He says he has no information on the attacks and has no idea what those guys are doing. He says what they are doing does not represent anything he is doing and has no connection to those guys whatsoever. He lets Gia Miller in on a secret, saying that there was a work going on before Ring of Honor went on hiatus about the company's identity, and is happy that the pure wrestlers won. He says that Ring of Honor is now pure, and says that his comrades and himself, the foundation, uphold honor at all times, and they follow the code of honor at all costs. And guess who interrupts him? Guess who interrupts him? Steve Macklin interrupts Jonathan Gresham and says that it's hard to believe that Gresham has nothing to do with those guys out there. Nothing to do with the mayhem. I like how Macklin says mayhem because you all know Steve Macklin loves mayhem. With that they're trying to cause. And then he accuses Jonathan Gresham of lying and that he comes from a group of guys called the Foundation that is going to uphold honor. And he says that you don't turn your back on your brothers. There's no honor in that. And Gresham cannot believe that Macklin has the audacity to question his honor. So next week, it's going to be Jonathan Gresham versus Steve Macklin for the Ring of Honor title, and it will be defended under pure honor rules. I'm excited for that match. That's going to be a money match. I don't care who you ask. Like, that is going to be the match of the night. That's for sure. Then, in the main event, we get the Ring of Honor women's title match. It's a winner-take-all match. It's Deonna Purrazo versus Rok-C. Wow. Okay, so this match was a great main event. I will say that right now. Rok-C, she took down Deonna. It does the curtsy move that Deonna likes to do. Deonna tried to snap Rok-C's arm in half. She targeted that arm. Deonna ended up going shoulder first into the steel post. She tried to go for that rock lock, but as you remember, Deonna targeted that arm, so it gives out. And, poor Rok-C, when she gets into Venus de Milo, she tries to grab the ref, but doesn't know about. Deonna Purrazo ends up winning, so she's double champ again. Wow, I was amazed. This match was good. So Deonna now is Reina de Reinas champion and Ring of Honor women's champion. But guess who comes out? Maria Kanellis Bennett comes out. She stares down Deonna, and then she gets surrounded by OGK, PCO, and Vinny. I still can't say his last name. And they stare at her, and then Matthew Rainwalk comes in to try to defend Deonna, but he gets beat down. Who comes out? Willie Mack. Willie Mack comes out and tries to help Matthew, but he gets beat down too. So that's why I'm asking what the hell happened in Rich Swann, because they didn't show him get beat down, and he didn't come out with Willie Mack. So basically, Ring of Honor making a statement and sending a message to Impact Wrestling. If you did not watch tonight's episode, you need to go back and watch it. And I hope that you guys stop sleeping on Impact, because tonight's episode was amazing. And we also found out that Jay White and Gorillas of Destiny are going to be at the next set of tapings. So we're going to have a Ring of Honor invasion and a Bullet Club invasion. Holy smokes, I cannot wait for that. And that concludes this review. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after Rampage. Bye.